A sensational new wave of online rumors is putting 90 Day Fiancé stars Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh back at the center of a storm. Posts circulating across social media claim that Jenny has left India forever, that Sumit has been hiding a secret wife, and that a supposed surrogacy arrangement exposed a major deception inside the couple's marriage. The headlines are explosive. The problem is that the available evidence does not establish those allegations as fact. What is documented is already dramatic enough. Jenny and Sumit have endured years of family conflict, a secret first marriage, international relationship complications, a controversial discussion about children, and most recently, Jenny's devastating ALS diagnosis. In July 2026, the couple publicly addressed rumors about Jenny's condition and explained that they were trying to arrange for Sumit to accompany her to the United States because doctors had advised that she should no longer make the long journey alone. That reality is very different from the viral story now circulating online. So what actually happened? And where did the claims about a secret wife and a surrogacy scam come from? The headline that set social media on fire. The latest rumors appear to combine several separate chapters of Jenny and Sumit's complicated history into one dramatic narrative. The phrase secret wife is particularly striking because Sumit really did have a secret marriage when Jenny first became involved with him. That part of the story is not new. When Jenny and Sumit first became known to 90 Day Fiancé viewers, their relationship already contained a major deception. Sumit had used a false online identity when communicating with Jenny, and Jenny later learned that he was married to another woman. That revelation became one of the defining moments of their early 90 Day Fiancé story. Jenny temporarily returned to the United States, but the relationship survived. Eventually, Sumit divorced his first wife and married Jenny. People magazine's May 2026 retrospective confirms that the couple met online before meeting in person in 2013 and eventually married during the third season of 90 Day Fiancé. The other way. That history matters because it explains why the phrase secret wife can immediately trigger suspicion among longtime viewers. But a historical secret marriage is not the same thing as evidence that Sumit currently has another secret wife. No credible current report located for this story establishes that allegation. The real secret marriage happened years ago. Jenny's relationship with Sumit was controversial from the beginning. The couple's age difference attracted attention, but the bigger issue was Sumit's deception. He had initially communicated with Jenny through a fake identity. Then came the revelation that he was already married. The discovery shattered Jenny's understanding of the relationship and became a central storyline on the TLC series. Yet Jenny did not permanently walk away. The couple continued their relationship, and Sumit eventually ended his first marriage. That is an important distinction when evaluating today's rumors. A dramatic headline can turn Sumit once had a secret first marriage into Sumit has secretly taken another wife. Those are two completely different claims. The first is documented. The second requires evidence. At present, that evidence has not been established by the reliable sources reviewed for this report. Did Jenny really leave India forever? This is another area where the online headline appears to go much further than the reporting. Jenny has traveled between India and the United States during her years in the public eye. More recently, however, her movements have been connected to her health and treatment rather than an announced permanent breakup. In May 2026, Jenny publicly revealed that she had been diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, commonly known as ALS. The diagnosis came after months of troubling symptoms, including swallowing difficulties and changes in her speech. The announcement transformed the conversation around the couple. Instead of another ordinary relationship controversy, Jenny and Sumit were suddenly facing a serious and progressive neurological illness. By July, the couple were publicly discussing plans to get Sumit to the United States so that he could accompany Jenny. Doctors had reportedly advised that Jenny could no longer make the long trip from India by herself. That is a very different story from a confirmed permanent departure caused by a marital scandal. Jenny's ALS diagnosis changed everything. Jenny's health became the most important development in her story during 2026. According to reporting published after the diagnosis, Jenny and Sumit learned in December 2025 that she had ALS. Her symptoms had begun earlier. The couple initially struggled to understand what was happening. One early warning sign involved difficulty swallowing. Her speech later became noticeably slower. When Jenny appeared publicly, fans noticed the change and began speculating about her health. Some online observers believed she had suffered a stroke. Others proposed different explanations. Eventually, the couple received the ALS diagnosis. In May, they decided to tell the public. The news was particularly painful because Jenny's father had also died from ALS, according to reporting surrounding her announcement. The diagnosis also explains why later rumors about Jenny leaving India need to be treated carefully. Her return to the United States is not simply a celebrity breakup storyline. It is tied to medical care, travel limitations, and the couple's attempts to determine what treatment and support may be available. Sumit responds to the bedridden rumors. The online speculation surrounding Jenny's health became so intense that the couple eventually responded directly. In a July video, Sumit pushed back against reports claiming that Jenny was hospitalized or unable to do anything for herself. He explained that Jenny could still walk and talk, and that she was not completely dependent on him. Jenny also appeared in the video and reassured followers that she could still care for herself with Sumit's assistance. The couple's message was straightforward. Some of the online descriptions of Jenny's condition were false or exaggerated. That context is crucial. A social media ecosystem that has already circulated false claims about Jenny's health is also capable of producing dramatic but unsupported claims about her marriage. A headline saying that Jenny has finally escaped India may attract clicks. It does not automatically make the claim true. Where does the surrogacy story come from? Unlike the alleged current surrogacy scam, the subject of surrogacy really did appear in Sumit and Jenny's 90-Day Fiancé storyline, but it happened years ago. In 2022, Sumit discussed the possibility of having children while dealing with pressure from his parents. His family wanted him to have children and worried about his future. Sumit told his friend that adoption or surrogacy could theoretically provide an option. The discussion became a major source of tension because Jenny did not want children. Contemporary reporting documented Jenny's position clearly. She rejected the idea of having children and did not want to pursue adoption or surrogacy. Another 2022 report described Sumit's discussion of adoption or surrogacy as possible routes to parenthood. But there is a huge difference between discussing surrogacy as a hypothetical option and secretly operating a surrogacy scheme. The available evidence does not establish the latter. The family pressure behind the baby controversy. To understand why the surrogacy rumors continue to resurface, viewers have to go back to Sumit's family. His parents had strongly opposed his relationship with Jenny. The age difference was a major concern. So, was the question of whether the couple would have children. Jenny was already a grandmother. Sumit's parents wanted him to have a child. That put Sumit in an uncomfortable position. He was caught between his marriage and his family. The possibility of adoption or surrogacy, therefore, became part of a larger conversation about whether Sumit could satisfy his parents without abandoning Jenny. For viewers, the storyline raised an obvious question. Could the couple remain together while giving Sumit's family the child they wanted? Jenny's answer was essentially no. She did not want to start another family. The issue therefore remained unresolved. Years later, snippets from that old storyline can easily be repackaged online as though a secret pregnancy or secret surrogate had recently been discovered. But the historical record does not establish that. Secret wife versus first wife. Another reason the new rumor sounds convincing to longtime fans is that Sumit's relationship history genuinely contains a secret marriage. When Jenny discovered that Sumit was married, it became one of the franchise's biggest early shocks. The deception was real. The consequences were real. And Jenny's decision to continue the relationship was controversial. But that chapter eventually ended. Sumit divorced his first wife. He and Jenny subsequently married. People's 2026 profile describes their eventual marriage and presents them as husband and wife. Therefore, any claim that Sumit currently has a second secret wife requires new evidence. A viral thumbnail or YouTube title is not enough. Why sensational headlines can become misleading. The story of Jenny and Sumit is almost perfectly designed for sensational headlines. There is a large age difference. There was an actual secret marriage. There was a fake online identity. There was family opposition. There were arguments about children. There was a discussion about surrogacy. There have been international moves and visa problems. And now there is a serious medical diagnosis. Every individual piece is dramatic. Put them together without context, and almost any headline can sound plausible. That is precisely why separating confirmed events from speculation matters. The phrase surrogacy scam suggests fraud. Fraud requires evidence. A disagreement about whether to have children is not fraud. A hypothetical discussion of surrogacy is not proof of a surrogacy arrangement. A previous secret marriage is not proof of a current secret marriage. And traveling to the United States for medical reasons is not automatically evidence of a permanent marital separation. The visa problem is real. There is, however, a genuine reason Jenny may spend more time in the United States. It involves Sumit's visa. In July, the couple said they were trying to obtain permission for Sumit to travel to the United States with Jenny. The process was important because Jenny's doctors had advised that she should no longer travel alone. Sumit publicly acknowledged that obtaining an American visa can be difficult for Indian citizens, but said they were trying. That creates a very real logistical problem. Jenny needs access to care and support. Sumit wants to remain beside his wife, but international immigration rules can complicate their ability to move together. That is far more grounded in the evidence than the idea of a secret wife suddenly emerging. The couple's relationship is under a different kind of pressure now. For years, Jenny and Sumit faced relationship pressure from family. Now their biggest challenge is health. The ALS diagnosis has changed the emotional stakes. Jenny and Sumit have repeatedly emphasized their intention to face the situation together. The couple has also thanked supporters for donations, cameo bookings, and fundraising efforts. Their public updates have focused heavily on medical care and getting through the disease together. This does not mean every question about their relationship has disappeared. Reality television relationships are complicated, but it does mean that claims of a dramatic secret divorce or escape should not be treated as established simply because they sound consistent with earlier storylines. What about Jenny officially moving back to America? There have been social media posts claiming that Jenny has officially moved back to the United States. Some posts frame the development as permanent. Others imply that she left because of Sumit's behavior. Still others combine the claim with allegations about a secret wife. The available reliable reporting reviewed here does not support that complete narrative. What is documented is that Jenny has traveled to America, has discussed her medical condition publicly, and is trying to secure appropriate treatment and support. The couple has also been working to get Sumit a visa so he can accompany her. That leaves the long-term question of where they will live unresolved. A temporary or medically motivated stay in America should not automatically be described as Jenny leaves India forever. The biggest twist may be the truth behind the rumors. Ironically, the most explosive part of this story may be how little evidence exists for the biggest claims. The phrase secret wife immediately takes viewers back to Sumit's original betrayal. The phrase surrogacy scam invokes the old baby storyline. And leaves India forever connects naturally to Jenny's history of leaving India when their relationship was in crisis. 3 old storylines are being fused into one new headline. That makes the rumor feel familiar. But familiarity is not proof. A timeline of Jenny and Sumit's relationship. 2013, they meet. Jenny and Sumit met online before eventually meeting in person. Their relationship developed despite their significant age difference. Before the other way, the fake identity and secret marriage. Sumit had used a false online identity when communicating with Jenny. Jenny eventually discovered that he was married. The revelation became a defining part of their early relationship. 2019, the couple appears on the other way. Jenny's move to India brought their relationship into the public spotlight. The secret marriage became one of the show's biggest early revelations. Following years, Sumit's divorce. Sumit eventually divorced his first wife. Jenny and Sumit continued their relationship despite pressure from his family. Season 3, Jenny and Sumit marry. The couple eventually married in a Hindu-style ceremony shown on 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way. 2022, the children controversy. Sumit's family continued pushing him toward parenthood. Adoption and surrogacy were discussed as possible options. Jenny rejected the idea of having children. 2025, health concerns emerge. Jenny began experiencing symptoms that eventually led to a diagnosis. Her speech changes became noticeable to viewers. December 2025, diagnosis. Jenny and Sumit learned that she had ALS. May 2026, the couple goes public. Jenny publicly revealed her diagnosis. The couple explained the emotional impact and their search for treatment options. July 2026, the couple addresses rumors. Jenny and Sumit pushed back against claims that she was bedridden. They also discussed efforts to obtain a visa for Sumit to accompany Jenny to the United States. What has not been established? At this point, several viral claims should be treated as unverified. There is no reliable evidence identified in this review establishing that. Sumit currently has a secret second wife. A secret wife has publicly confirmed a surrogacy scam involving Jenny. Jenny left India permanently because of a newly discovered secret marriage. Jenny and Sumit secretly arranged a fraudulent surrogacy. A hidden child has been established as the product of such an arrangement. The couple has publicly announced a divorce connected to these allegations. That does not mean future reporting could not change the picture. It means the claims should not be reported as facts without evidence. Why viewers should remember the original story. The temptation is to believe that Jenny and Sumit's newest scandal must be another version of their old scandal. But their actual history is more complicated. Sumit really did deceive Jenny. He really did have a secret first marriage. Jenny really did leave India after discovering the truth. The couple really did struggle with his parents. They really did discuss the possibility of children. Surrogacy really was mentioned. But those events occurred at different times and in different circumstances. Combining them into a single scam creates a story that is much more definitive than the evidence permits. The emotional reality behind the headlines. Jenny's current situation is also difficult to separate from the emotional consequences of ALS. The couple has spent years being watched by millions of viewers. Every disagreement becomes content. Every trip becomes a potential breakup. Every health update becomes a source of speculation. When Jenny's speech changed, fans immediately began searching for explanations. When she traveled to the United States, some assumed it meant a breakup. When the couple discussed visas, some interpreted the situation as evidence that their marriage was failing. That environment can make it difficult for public figures to communicate without their words being transformed into a new storyline. Jenny and Sumit's July statement is particularly important because it demonstrates that at least some of the claims circulating about Jenny's condition were false. Their direct response should serve as a reminder that social media speculation can move much faster than verified information. The real question, what happens next? The most important unanswered question is not whether Sumit has a secret wife. It is whether the couple can successfully navigate Jenny's medical needs and their international situation. Jenny needs support. Sumit wants to provide it. The couple has indicated that they are pursuing ways for him to accompany her to the United States. At the same time, they remain connected to India, where they have built their life together. Their future may involve extended stays in America, continued life in India, or some combination of the two. But that future has not been conclusively announced. The headline versus the evidence. The viral headline says, Jenny leaves India forever. The evidence says the couple has been dealing with Jenny's serious illness and exploring travel and visa options. The viral headline says, Sumit's secret wife confirms a surrogacy scam. The evidence confirms that Sumit had a secret first marriage years ago and that adoption and surrogacy were once discussed as hypothetical options for having children. It does not establish a current secret wife or a fraudulent surrogacy scheme. The viral headline says, Explosive interview. The documented interviews are indeed emotional and significant, but primarily because Jenny and Sumit have been discussing ALS, treatment, travel, and their efforts to remain together. That distinction matters. Why the truth is still a compelling story. There is no need to manufacture a secret wife to make Jenny and Sumit's story dramatic. Their real history already contains enough twists for a television series. They met online. Sumit initially hid his identity. Jenny discovered that he was married. She left India. She came back. They fought for their relationship. His family resisted the marriage. They eventually married. They confronted the question of children. Surrogacy entered the conversation. Jenny rejected it. And now the couple is facing one of the most difficult chapters imaginable: a progressive neurological disease and the challenge of securing treatment and family support across international borders. That is the real story. And it is considerably more complicated than a clickbait headline. The final verdict on the surrogacy scam. Based on the currently available reporting, the surrogacy scam should be described as an unverified online allegation, not a confirmed scandal. The documented history is narrower. Sumit discussed adoption and surrogacy years ago. Jenny opposed having children. No credible source located for this report confirms that the couple secretly pursued a fraudulent surrogacy arrangement. Likewise, the existence of Sumit's former secret marriage should not be transformed into a claim that he currently has another secret wife without new evidence. The final verdict on Jenny leaving India. Jenny has traveled to the United States, and the couple has been discussing how Sumit can accompany her. But leaves India forever is stronger than the evidence supports. Her medical situation is developing. Her treatment needs may influence where she spends her time. Her immigration and travel circumstances may change. Until Jenny or Sumit formally confirms a permanent move, the responsible description is that they are navigating a possible move or extended stay connected to Jenny's health, not that a permanent departure has been proven. And the final verdict on Jenny and Sumit. Despite everything they have endured, the latest verified public picture is not one of a confirmed divorce or secret wife revelation. It is a picture of a married couple confronting a serious health crisis. In July 2026, Sumit was still publicly referring to Jenny as his wife and discussing efforts to bring her to America for treatment and support. That does not guarantee what the future will hold, but it is what the evidence currently shows. For longtime 90-Day Fiancé viewers, the temptation will be to assume that history is repeating itself. After all, Sumit once had a secret wife. Jenny once left India. Surrogacy once became part of their storyline. But a collection of old facts does not automatically create a new scandal. Until an identifiable person produces evidence of a current secret marriage or a fraudulent surrogacy arrangement, those claims remain rumors. And until Jenny and Sumit announce otherwise, the most significant development in their lives remains the battle they have chosen to face together. Jenny's ALS diagnosis and the difficult search for treatment, support, and a path forward. Jenny Sladden and Sumit Singh's story began as one of the most unlikely relationships in the 90-Day Fiancé universe. When viewers first met them on season 1 of 90-Day Fiancé, The Other Way in 2019, Jenny was leaving her established life in Palm Springs, California, to move to India for a man who was roughly half her age. What initially looked like an unusual international romance quickly became a much bigger story involving catfishing, family pressure, an undisclosed marriage, cultural differences, and a dramatic confrontation that changed the course of their relationship. How Jenny and Sumit met. Jenny and Sumit first connected online. According to TLC's retrospective on their relationship, Sumit initially contacted Jenny using a fake social media identity. He was also known professionally and online as Michael Jones while working at a call center. He eventually admitted to Jenny that he wasn't actually the person he had presented himself to be. Ordinarily, that kind of deception might have ended a relationship immediately. Jenny, however, decided to forgive him. The two continued talking and eventually developed a serious emotional connection. They began video chatting and ultimately met in person when Jenny traveled to India. Their age difference immediately became one of the defining aspects of their story. Jenny was around 60 when the first season aired, while Sumit was around 30. Her family, particularly her daughter Christina, was understandably concerned about the relationship and about Jenny moving so far from home for someone she'd originally met online. But Jenny believed that what she had with Sumit was genuine. She eventually made the enormous decision to leave her home, children, grandchildren, and familiar life in the United States and move to India to be with him. Jenny moves to India. The premise of The Other Way was different from the original 90-Day Fiancé format. Instead of a foreign partner coming to the United States on a K-1 visa, The American partner moved abroad to live with their significant other. Jenny's move to India therefore became the central gamble of her relationship with Sumit. In the opening episode, she arrived in India expecting her new life with Sumit to begin. But almost immediately, there was a problem. Sumit's parents didn't know the truth about their relationship and strongly opposed Jenny. Sumit had been living with his parents, so he needed to establish a separate home. He told his family that he was moving out because of a job opportunity rather than telling them that he was moving in with Jenny. That created a strange situation. Jenny had crossed the world expecting to begin a life with her boyfriend, while Sumit was simultaneously trying to hide their relationship from the people closest to him. And that secret was about to become much more complicated. The secret Sumit hadn't told Jenny. The biggest bombshell of season 1 came when Jenny discovered that Sumit was already married. This wasn't simply a relationship in which his parents disapproved of his girlfriend. Sumit had entered an arranged marriage with another woman in India. Jenny had believed she was moving to India to eventually marry Sumit. Instead, she discovered that he was legally married to someone else. TLC's Retrospective says Sumit had been in the arranged marriage for about 2 years when Jenny discovered the truth. The revelation transformed the entire story. Jenny had already forgiven Sumit for catfishing her. She had accepted the enormous age difference. She had left her country and family behind. But now she learned that the man she intended to build a future with had hidden an existing marriage from her. Sumit later acknowledged that he had lied to Jenny and to other people. In an interview reported by E! News, he admitted that he had done many things wrong. Why did Sumit marry someone else? Sumit's explanation centered on family pressure and the arranged marriage system. Jenny later described the situation as emotional blackmail, saying Sumit's family had pressured him into the marriage. In her account, Sumit's father had become seriously ill, and the family wanted Sumit to marry and help take care of the family. Jenny said that Sumit had previously insisted he would never allow his parents to arrange a marriage for him, but ultimately the pressure became overwhelming. Sumit himself portrayed the marriage as something he did not genuinely want. He said on the show that he had been dating Jenny when his parents arranged the marriage and that he barely knew the woman he married. That distinction became important to Jenny. From her perspective, Sumit's deception was devastating, but she also believed that he had been pressured into the marriage and that his true desire was to be with her. The situation was far more complicated than simply Sumit cheated on his wife. It involved his feelings for Jenny, his marriage, his parents' expectations, and the cultural and familial pressure surrounding him. The confrontation. Eventually, the secret could no longer remain hidden. According to TLC's account, the father of Sumit's wife showed up at the apartment where Jenny and Sumit were living. The confrontation quickly escalated as members of Sumit's family became involved. News reported that the show's producers weren't present for the initial discovery. Jenny contacted production afterward, and cameras returned to India to document what had happened. Sumit was taken away by his family, leaving Jenny alone in India. TLC describes the episode as one of the most dramatic moments in their entire relationship. The situation demonstrated just how little control Jenny had over what was happening around her. She had moved to India believing she was finally going to have a life with Sumit suddenly. Sumit's family had taken him away. His marriage had been exposed, and Jenny was left trying to understand what had happened. Jenny returns to America. Jenny's Indian visa eventually became another obstacle. With Sumit still trapped in his family situation and unable to immediately resolve his marriage, Jenny couldn't simply remain in India indefinitely. Her visa was approaching expiration, and she ultimately returned to the United States. For the couple, however, the separation wasn't the end. Sumit began working toward ending his existing marriage. The divorce process became one of the central storylines of the next phase of their relationship. TLC says Sumit filed for divorce and that the couple eventually reunited after approximately 5 months apart. There was also a financial component to the divorce. TLC's Retrospective notes that Sumit's father-in-law sought substantial compensation for expenses associated with the marriage, while Sumit's parents ultimately agreed to help with the divorce costs. Why their story became so popular? Jenny and Sumit's first season worked as reality television because almost every part of their relationship contained a contradiction. Jenny was the older American woman who had taken a huge risk for love. Sumit was the younger Indian man who appeared devoted to her, but had already deceived her multiple times. Jenny wanted marriage. Sumit said he wanted to be with Jenny, but was trapped in an existing marriage and under pressure from his family. Jenny wanted independence. Sumit remained deeply connected to his parents and their expectations. And underlying all of it was the enormous age difference that made Sumit's family question whether their relationship could possibly last. The couple therefore became much more than another 90-day fiancé romance. Their story became an extended examination of whether two people could maintain a relationship when nearly everyone around them seemed determined to prevent it. The relationship continued. Despite everything that happened in season 1, Jenny didn't give up on Sumit. The couple reunited, and Sumit continued pursuing a divorce. By the next stages of their story, they were working toward a future together rather than simply trying to survive the crisis that had nearly destroyed their relationship. Their journey eventually continued through multiple seasons of The Other Way. Sumit's divorce was finalized, and the couple repeatedly faced opposition from his parents. One of the most important developments came when Sumit eventually proposed to Jenny despite his parents' objections. The road to marriage was still extremely difficult, but the couple continued choosing each other. The eventual payoff. The extraordinary part of Jenny and Sumit's original story is that the events of season 1 were only the beginning. They survived the catfishing revelation. They survived Jenny discovering that Sumit was married. They survived the confrontation with his family. They survived their separation. They survived the divorce process. They survived years of opposition from Sumit's parents. And eventually, after all of those obstacles, Jenny and Sumit actually married in 2021 during season 3 of 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way. Their wedding was therefore much more than a typical reality TV finale. It represented the culmination of a relationship that had started with a fake online identity and seemed, at several points, almost impossible to sustain. TLC's Retrospective describes the couple's eventual Hindu wedding as the moment when they finally became husband and wife after years of conflict, visa problems, and family opposition. Sumit's life was in India. Sumit was born and raised in India, and his parents and extended family were there. His relationship with his parents was complicated, but they remained an important part of his life. During the early seasons, Sumit was torn between Jenny and his family. He wanted to be with Jenny, but also struggled with the expectations placed on him by his parents. His family strongly opposed the relationship, particularly because of Jenny's age. So moving permanently to America wasn't an easy solution. Sumit had a life, family connections, and responsibilities in India. 2. Jenny actually liked living in India. It is easy to assume that Jenny simply stayed in India because Sumit refused to move to America, but Jenny herself said she was comfortable there. In a 2020 interview, she said she liked India, its culture, and its people. She also said she felt capable of adapting because she was open-minded and willing to adjust to the culture. That was significant because Jenny had already made an enormous sacrifice by leaving Palm Springs and moving across the world. She missed her daughters and grandchildren, but her daughters were adults and supported her decision. Jenny explained that they wanted their mother to be happy with Sumit. 3. Jenny wanted to marry Sumit and remain in India. There was also a practical immigration issue. Jenny initially had a tourist visa that required her to leave India periodically. This became a major source of anxiety because she wanted to establish a permanent life with Sumit. At one point, Jenny explained that marrying Sumit would allow her to change her immigration status and avoid repeatedly having to leave India. So marriage wasn't simply a romantic goal for Jenny. It was also important to her ability to remain in India with Sumit. Ironically, Sumit's unresolved marriage became the biggest obstacle. 4. Sumit's divorce had to happen first. When Jenny first moved to India, she didn't know that Sumit was already married. Once she discovered the marriage, everything changed. Sumit had to deal with the legal process of ending that marriage before he could legally marry Jenny. Jenny eventually returned to the United States because her visa was expiring while Sumit's divorce remained unresolved. She later explained that the relationship itself had never ended. She was essentially waiting for Sumit to deal with the divorce. After about 5 months apart, Jenny returned to India. Sumit had begun the divorce process, and the couple resumed building their life together. 5. They eventually married in India. The long-term plan ultimately worked. Jenny and Sumit secretly married in 2021, during the period documented on 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way. Their Hindu wedding finally gave them the marital relationship they had spent years fighting for. Once they were married, there was even less reason for Jenny to abandon the life they had created in India. In fact, Jenny said before their marriage that she was determined to remain with Sumit regardless of whether he married her immediately. She told Entertainment Tonight that she wasn't going anywhere and that the only real deal breaker would have been Sumit telling her he didn't want to be with her anymore. Entertainment. 6. Family finances became another reason. Their living situation later became more complicated. Despite years of conflict with Sumit's parents, Jenny and Sumit eventually became more integrated into his family life. More recently, they have lived with his parents in India and became involved in the family's cafe business. TLC and later reporting have documented how their relationship with Sumit's parents gradually changed. Financial considerations also mattered. Rather than maintaining a completely independent household, living with family could make practical sense. By late 2025, Jenny acknowledged that living with Sumit's extended family remained one of the major challenges of their life in India, even as she and Sumit had become involved in the family cafe. 7. Their relationship had become rooted in India. This is probably the most important point. Jenny initially went to India for Sumit, but after years there, India became the place where the couple had their home, marriage, relationships, and day-to-day life. They had already survived Sumit's catfishing of Jenny, his secret arranged marriage, his family's opposition, their separation, the divorce, Jenny's visa problems, their eventual marriage, years of cultural and family conflicts. So leaving India would have meant starting over again, rather than simply continuing the life they had fought so hard to establish. The interesting part, Jenny didn't necessarily